So you've gone ahead and bought in the Vampiric Bloodlust Commander 2017 deck. And you're hoping to play with your boy, Edgar Markov. Well, I've got you covered if you want to make some additions on the cheap to really give this deck your own spin. So 10 cards are coming out, and obviously 10 cards are going in. The one thing I will say is that the best thing that you can always invest in when you want to change a deck and make it better is your mana base. But that's not really exciting, so I'm not going to touch on the mana base in this deck. It's kind of passable. If you have access to shock lands or anything like that, fetch lands, throw them in there. They're always a great way of regulating your colors. With that said, let's jump in. I'm not going to dwell too much on what's coming out. I'll give some high-level reasons as to why I'm taking cards out. But here are some of the cards I'm taking out. So Sangromancer, Skeletal Vampire, Vein Drinker, Falconwrath Noble, and Tithe Drinker are some vampires that I just don't feel make the cut. I think they could be replaced by better creatures that really help round out your deck. I feel that these cards that I just mentioned are pretty much deck filler. So let's get rid of those. Some other cards within the deck that I want to drop are Consuming Vapors, Ambition's Cost, Siphon Mine. I didn't mention this, but two of the new cards, which is Disrupt Decorum, and another creature, which is Lycia Sanguine Tribune. And the thing with Lycia is that she's a really cool card. I like the card. I just don't think it fits well with a vampire tribal deck. The abilities that she gives seems more geared towards a type of Voltron style gameplay, so I would just cut her out. If you want to play with her, I'd suggest maybe make another deck. All right, with that said, let's jump in here. So without further ado, some of the creatures that I'm going to slot in here, and again, this is on a $20 budget. So Olivia Voldarden at $2.80, Olivia Mobilized for War, $1.29, Drana Liberator of Malakir. She's really cool because she, buffs your vampires even more so than they're already being buffed, but she's not really essential. I know that a lot of people like squeezing her in there for the thematic aspect of it. Speaking of theme, Baron Sangir is not going to be in this. He clocks in at $1.79. He's kind of expensive, and his ability to regenerate vampires is pretty cool, but you're paying a lot of mana for just that. So if you really want to be on theme, try him out, but he's a reserve list card and he might be hard to find, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, carrying on, we've got Ascendant Evankar. So Krovax himself at just a measly 49 cents. Then moving on, we have Kalistra Highborn. At $3.49, she provides a lot of reasons for your opponents to not take out your vampires. And let's face it, you're going to have a lot of vampire tokens from Markov's ability, so draining your opponents for 2 while you gain 2 is actually pretty relevant in this deck. And let's move on to some of the non-permanent cards. So Terminate is a card that should be in pretty much any black-red deck. It's a really good card. It's only 79 cents, depending on the printing that you go for. Oblivion Ring is another card that I always include in any deck that runs white. It just makes sense to have it. It's a different form of removal. People have a harder time removing enchantments, so why not exile, get around some indestructibility maybe? And at only 25 cents, I think it's a good investment, to say the least. Next up is Behold the Beyond at 49 cents. So you might be kind of wondering why I would have this in here. Well, it's twofold. Originally, when I was making this list, I was going to give it a discard sub-theme, seeing as how we were throwing in Olivia Mobilized for War. But I decided to cut a few of the cards, namely Falconwrath Gorger, which just put me over my $20 limit. So I decided, just let's cut that, add in some other things, but I decided to keep Behold the Beyond simply because it is a really good card. Yeah, it's expensive. It doesn't really see that much play, but in a deck where maybe you don't have that much card draw, if you happen to have a full hand of land, getting rid of your land cards in exchange for 3 cards that you really want is a good idea. I feel that this deck lacks tutors, so it's giving you one in the form of 3 cards. So back into the creatures. For the last 2 cards, we have Abzan Battle Priest. And the reason that I have him in here is that you're going to be having a lot of +1/+1 counters on your creatures, giving them all lifelink. Finally, the last card, I saved the most expensive for last, is Bloodline Keeper at $6. There's no reason for you not to run this card. It's a huge boon, not only for generating tokens, but when you flip the card, giving your vampires +2/+2 really makes each and every vampire into a juggernaut. So having this ability it was something that I couldn't say not to get. It's the most expensive card that you'll be buying for this deck, but I highly recommend it. If you can't find it or you just don't want to spend that much money on a single card, completely understand. It's pretty much close to a third of the actual budget for our changes. I won't hold it against you. I won't hold it against you, but those are my edits. Let me know what you thought. What did you think I omitted that should have been included for these budget changes for this deck? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear it. If you'd like to check out some of my other videos, you can do that on screen right now. And if you'd like to subscribe, which not only helps the channel out, but it lets you know when we upload new content, you can do that on screen as well. Really thank you for making me a part of your day. And until next time, good gaming.